Imagine just for a second drastically scaling your productivity. And I don't mean by working longer hours, but by commanding a fully automated, self-improving digital ecosystem that works tirelessly while you're literally fast asleep. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are moving way past those basic prompts and looking at how to actually build an AI agentic operating system. We're talking about an interconnected environment that honestly gives you real-life superpowers.
Software now costs less than minimum wage. Think about that. This is the high-stakes reality of modern AI economics. We've hit this tipping point where digital labor is essentially limitless. So relying on isolated chat windows, like just firing up ChatGPT in your browser, is completely obsolete. It's kind of like that ex whose number you deleted. You don't just go back to chatting. You need a system that integrates into your entire workflow, acting as a tireless digital workforce rather than just conversational partner. Think of this explainer as your tech system boot sequence. Here is our roadmap. First, we'll look at the anatomy of an AI agent, then the multi-brain triad strategy, automating the content factory, designing long-term AI goals, and finally, the self-improving agentic OS. Let's get right into it. Okay, starting right off with Section 1, Anatomy of an AI Agent, the core building blocks. To actually build this system, we first need to understand the foundational pieces that make an AI agent an agent. There's this massive misconception people have when they start building AI tools. You absolutely have to separate the driver from the race car. The driver is the intelligence model itself, so Claude, DeepSeek, or GPT. The race car, on the other hand, is the integrated development environment, or the app, where the actual work happens, like Codex, Claude Code, or your terminal. You swap different drivers into different cars depending on the race, right? Understanding that separation is step one to true automation. So what actually transforms a standard chatbot into a fully autonomous worker? Well, it boils down to these four core parts. First up, memory. These are standing facts stored in a simple text file like a markdown document, so the system actually remembers who you are. Second is the loop, which is basically the heartbeat. Instead of waiting for you to hit enter, the agent sees the result of an action, asks itself what's next, and literally prompts itself. Third, tools. This is giving it the ability to connect to Slack, your Google Calendar, or your Gmail. And fourth, context. These are the specific, user-defined rules of engagement for whatever project you're working on.
Moving right along to Section 2, the multi-brain triad strategy for fail-proof execution.
Look, if you've only got one AI brain running in isolation, you're leaving a massive amount of capability on the table. This is where we stop relying on just one model for everything. The triad is a cyclical workflow. It basically means we use highly specialized AI models to plan, execute, and critique complex tasks seamlessly. By passing tasks between expert models, you're creating this fail-proof, high-quality execution cycle that can just run 24/7 without any brain isolation. And this breakdown right here brilliantly shows exactly what that stack looks like in practice. For planning, you tag in Claude Opus 4.7. It's absolutely the best conductor for decomposing a task and writing a brief. Then, for execution, you hand it off to DeepSeek v4 to grind through the actual labor overnight. Finally, you bring in a completely different model, GPT 5.5, to act as the judge, ruthlessly critiquing the output. If it fails, the loop sends it right back to execution. Now here is exactly why we slot DeepSeek v4 into that execution phase. 87 cents. Seriously, that is the cost of DeepSeek v4 per 1 million tokens. To put that into perspective, Opus is around $75 for a similar workload. By dropping DeepSeek right into the middle of your triad, you get a 100x cheaper execution engine overnight, delivering 95% of the performance for literally a fraction of the cost. All right, let's shift from theory over to application. Section 3. Automating the content factory and building those mini missions. This is where we build mini missions using the agent architecture we just talked about. But to instruct an agent properly, you need a solid framework. Enter the BLAST framework. It's a universal instruction manual for programming any AI project. B is for blueprint, defining your absolute North Star vision. L is for links, detailing the exact tools it needs to hook into. A is architecture, setting up the probabilistic rules so the AI doesn't just wildly hallucinate. S is for style, defining the visual identity. And T is trigger, dictating exactly how the final payload is delivered to you. You feed this whole framework into your agent, and it knows exactly what to build. Let's actually look at this BLAST framework in action when you connect it to real-world tools. Say you want to autonomously spin up an entire lead generation campaign or an animated web dashboard. You link your agent to Firecrawl to instantly pull brand identity HTML right off the web. You link it to Appify to scrape the internet for highly targeted social data and leads. And finally, you hook it into Higgsfield, which uses the Nano Banana 2 model to generate and animate custom videos and images for that specific lead. All automated, all orchestrated entirely by your AI.
We are really building some momentum here. Section 4, Designing Long-Term AI Goals, pushing way beyond basic prompts.
Because let's face it, asking an agent to write a quick email is super easy. Asking it to manage your business for a month? Totally different game. A short-term sprint is basic, like create 5 slides. An agent knocks that out in 20 seconds. But a midterm goal, what we like to call a Chief Wiggum goal, looks more like launch an email course and get 500 signups in 4 weeks. This requires the goal to survive across multiple loops, multiple sessions, and multiple days. The agent actually has to research the course topic, build the opt-in engine, draft the emails, and then deploy the whole campaign.
But here is the real secret sauce to making those long-term goals actually work. Real-world human handshakes. True long-term AI goals require the system to pause and tag you in for things that only you can do. So the AI builds the campaign, right? But it leaves a placeholder and sends you a ping saying, hey, I need you to record a 3-minute promo video using this exact script I just wrote. You record it, drop it in the folder, the AI recognizes it, shakes your hand digitally, and takes the reins back to push everything live. Which brings us to the final piece of this whole system upgrade. Section 5, the self-improving Agentic OS, basically your new command center. Bringing all of these fragmented agents and tools into one unified spot can get incredibly chaotic. An agentic operating system provides massive visibility over your entire digital life. It consolidates all your API keys and token limits, so you're never running out of usage unexpectedly. It actually tracks your time-saving ROI, calculating exactly how much money these automated skills are saving you. It unifies your local memory files with your cloud vector databases, like Pinecone. And it proactively cleans out outdated files and unused skills, so your AI's brain doesn't get all cluttered up. But I gotta say, the true magic of this OS is the revolutionary dreaming feature. While you are literally asleep, your OS is still grinding in the background. It analyzes your daily cost intelligence to see where you might have overpaid for compute. It tracks how your skills are performing. It detects patterns in your daily workflows by reading your local message logs, and it even researches external opportunities on the web that fit your specific context. And here is where it gets crazy when you wake up the next morning. Because that dreaming feature was analyzing your workflow patterns overnight, you might log in, grab your coffee, and see a notification that says, hey, I noticed you manually formatted competitor research 3 times this week. I have automatically written a reusable markdown skill to do this for you next time. It catches your repetitive manual labor and instantly hands you a superpower upgrade to automate it forever.
Which really just leaves us with this final, kind of thrilling thought. If your personal AI is working, learning, running these multi-brain triads, and leveling up its own skills 24/7 while you sleep, what are you going to build tomorrow? The bottleneck isn't execution anymore, it's simply your imagination. Get out there and start building your own agentic ecosystem. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.